with so many of us being on self-improvement and trying to limit our exposure to instant gratification activities, we're often left feeling like there's nothing fun that we can do to satisfy our free time with. So without further ado, here are 3 things that you can do on self-improvement that won't destroy your dopamine receptors, but also will give you some sort of pleasure and satisfaction. Let's get into it. So I think I'm gonna cut the part of the videos where I give you guys like the little update on my life, because I don't think you guys actually clicked on the video for that reason. I'm sorry if I sound a little tired today. I didn't get much sleep last night, unfortunately. But let's just jump straight into it. So the first activity that I love doing, especially since I've gotten on self-improvement, is going for walks in nature. And I know it might sound like cliche or boring, but the truth is that the only reason why we don't really think of walks in nature as a fun activity is because we're so overstimulated by our phones that we don't really have the capacity to enjoy something as simple as going on a walk in nature. But if you are able to go on a walk in nature and truly enjoy it, you know that you are healing your dopamine system, so that's also a huge plus of going for walks out in nature. And yeah, overall it's just super wholesome and it makes you feel really good, especially if you're bottling up a lot of stress. Literally go to the nearest park, sit on a bench, sit on a rock, or even do some push-ups in that park, and it just feels nice to know that you're a part of nature and we are in our most natural state. Hundreds of years in the past, people actually went on walks not only to like find food and stuff, but also to satisfy their own needs and wants. So going for walks and being a part of nature is always something that humans have done. And I think that the biggest contributor to the reason why we no longer do it as much is video games. I know in my childhood, video games took up so much of my day. I would literally come home from school at 3 to 3:30 and I would play video games all the way till 11 till I was going to sleep. And there was literally no time for anything, to go outside or anything. And especially in the summer, I would play like the entire day from 8 a.m. to like 11 p.m. Which sounds crazy now. I mean, now I definitely wouldn't even be able to do it. It's not even like I have an addiction to it that lasted throughout my life. And if I go play one game of Fortnite, I'll want to play all day. And I honestly can't even remember the last time I played video games. But if I were to, I wouldn't be like transfixed by it in the way that I was. So, like, I guess I've somehow healed that part of me that wanted to sit and escape from reality to that extent. And now I find a better escape in going out in nature. There's this one walkway kind of near my house. It's about a 15-20 minute drive. That's my favorite walkway because it's super, like, nature-esque, and it actually feels like you're going on a hike. Those are my favorite kind of walks. So yeah guys, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but going for walks in nature and just overall being outside is something that we should always be doing and keeping in the back of our minds. So the next activity that I think we can do as individuals that are on the dopamine detox kind of lifestyle, semi-dopamine detox I guess you can say, is be around your peers. Being around your peers is so important, and we always say like stick to yourself, grind hard, and then party later, but honestly that doesn't work because you get burnt out really fast. So always make sure that you have people around you besides like your immediate family that can lift you up in your times of need and also like propel you when you're feeling great, right? Like especially like-minded people. Like-minded people take a while to find though, and they often might be people that you would never expect. For instance, in my particular case, I found that people that are very like-minded to me are athletes, even though I have cerebral palsy, so I don't really play any sports. They are a lot, I would say like 90% of my friends are athletes, and a lot of them are also on self-improvement, so I think they go hand in hand. Obviously I do work out, as I've stated before, so that is one thing that we have in common, but I think that the mindset in common is much more important than the thing that you do. Like one of my best friends is a hockey player, and he says that he doesn't ever hang out with hockey kids because they're all the same and they all indulge in instant gratification pleasures, which he never does. Like he's super on his game, he never folds, so he's a great kid, but like I'm able to connect with him even though I don't do what he does. He doesn't make videos or anything. None of my friends make YouTube videos, which is actually a little bit strange. I wouldn't like to have some content creator friends, not just the ones that I watch like Ice Cold JT and all that, because I don't actually talk to them face to face. But yeah, I mean, I think that having friends with similar mindsets can be so powerful, and they can pretty much get you out of any rut. And even just friends with different mindsets, as long as they're not harming you, I would say it's fine. Like a lot of my friends in the past have disagreed on me on a lot of things, but I've hated them for it, and that wasn't the right move. I've since changed my tune completely. I never play that game anymore, and it's easy for me to connect with people who I don't have a lot in common with. So definitely on self-improvement, make sure you have a lot of people around you. Don't just go full on monk mode like people say. That's not, in my opinion, that's completely counterproductive, because then you don't improve your social skills or anything. So I would say stay around people, especially ones that have your best interests at heart. And then the third thing is kind of an obvious one, but reading books. Like, reading books is honestly a lot of fun, especially if you read a fiction book. And some fiction books are so powerful. Like, I read 1984 and Brave New World, and those two books both changed my, like, outlook on everything pretty much. Like, they were very powerful, even though they have nothing to do with any sort of self-improvement. They're just honestly a good plot-based book with a few concepts that we see in today's world that are very scary and that we need to watch out for. So, like, it doesn't have to be How to Stop Giving an F by Mark Manson. Like, I've noticed for me, the first two self-improvement books I read them like this. I went right through them. And then on the third one I got stuck because I think I just kind of got sick of reading self-improvement books. So definitely switch it up. And I haven't read in a bit. That's actually something I need to do. I was being very consistent with it for a while, but now I'm kind of slacking off a bit, so I need to get back on that. But definitely switch it up with books. Look up like best fiction books. Obviously the two I recommended. 1984 is incredible. The Book Thief, very great book. A lot of the ones that I'm thinking of are probably for younger crowds. The Mostly True Story of Jack is a great one. But honestly, I used to read way more as a kid, so I definitely need to get back into it this summer because it does grow your mind a lot. Especially like sometimes you just get that perfect self-improvement book that actually has some concrete things that you can implement into your life. Like for example, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great book, and the Robert Kiyosaki is very good at selling you a dream, but I would argue that overall the book doesn't have many actual like tips that you can go and do right now. It's basically just invest in property, invest in like long-term assets. Whereas a book like How to Win Friends and Influence People, which I actually made a whole video on, that book was incredible. It literally laid out the like blueprints on how to make people like you. Like literally. It sounds cringy, but I mean, no one's willing to actually talk about this stuff, and those who are often have an upper hand because they've just put more time into the area. So with that being said, those are the 3 things that I like to do on self-improvement. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I spend way more time on my phone than doing these things, which is pretty bad. Honestly, no. I do spend a lot of time outside, maybe to a fault, honestly. I spend almost too much time outside, but in terms of reading, I definitely need to read more and stop going on my phone as much because obviously that's burning my dopamine system. But that's a topic for another day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.